Welcome to the Fit Dads Podcast. I'm Ryan Dutton. I'm joined by Brad Thompson, and it's a more positive episode this time, Brad. We've done 5 most hated things in the industry. Now it's the 5 things that we love the most about the fitness industry. Hopefully this is a little bit more uplifting and positive, and I guess it wasn't too negative, was it, last session when we were talking about the 5 most hated things? It was kind of just things that get on our nerves, bees in the bonnets. Today it's things that we absolutely love, and probably the things that really highlight why we're in this industry and why we love helping people. So, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been really good. I've got a confession to make though.
Go on, hit me.
Tried CrossFit.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
I enjoyed
keeping that one quiet.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where was this?
CrossFit Kelham. And I shout out to the guy who took the session as well, Phil. He was unbelievably
What's
good.
prompted this?
I think I wanted that environment. We've just been talking before, and I miss that environment. I miss football. I miss, but scheduling.
Community.
Yeah. And scheduling. I think it's that way. When you work at a gym as well, that's your workspace. So for me to flip the switch and work hard, it's I thought, do you know what? I need to outsource this. And you know what it's like? I don't like programming for myself. I've always said that. I just don't like doing it.
It's so much nice when you've got someone else saying, this is what you've got to do. Turn up this time. Quite regimented. I mean, I know you from a personal level as well. Like, you like structure, you like routine. I've seen your weekly diary schedule, and it's very busy, but you like sticking to that. So having something in there that's like, right, this is exercise time, someone else is planning it. Just to mention my coach, Mick Blythe, same. I like having him on a Wednesday just saying, right, this is what we're doing. This is the plan for the next 6 months as we head up towards High Rocks. Show up and let's do the business, basically. So
I think with that, I felt a little bit like a hypocrite as well. I'm encouraging people to get to their goals, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not really pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Let me try. Let me see what's what, and I'm gonna stick at it. So.
And you enjoyed it?
Yeah, really good, mate.
Cool.
Programming my class and energy were good. And
so is it going to be like a class you go to once a week kind of thing?
I'm gonna try and go 3 times.
Have you signed up to 3 times a week? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The package are really good. That they
going
offer
all in.
now. Yeah.
Love this.
I thought sod it.
Brilliant. This will be a great little journey. We'll document this on the podcast.
I thought let's try it. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be all over social media soon. You'll be wearing what do they wear? The CrossFitters. They wear buns and headbands.
Colourful socks.
You'll be wearing those wrist straps that have padding and little fingers that go through them. I'm not sure what they're called.
I'll get on that. Yeah.
You only get CrossFitters wearing those.
That's it.
And you'll have that very iconic CrossFit T-shirt that everyone wears.
I'm going to try and be the anti-CrossFitter.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I'm just going to turn up and be like,
that's a new
rock up in my football gear.
New Instagram name right there. The anti-CrossFitter.
Well, we'll see. But, no, mate, what about you? You had a good bank holiday?
Yeah, quite one, to be fair. Just busy. Obviously, bank holiday weekend. Went over to see my mum. Cooked far too much food. She did an unbelievable... what did they do? It was a beef bourguignon, they did. My mum's partner is really, really good at beef bourguignon. It's like his speciality dish. We all have those speciality dishes that are kind of our signature thing. For him, beef bourguignon is the one he absolutely smashes. And funnily enough, Harlow absolutely loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, she's not going to get pissed off that. She's like, loads of red wine in there. But no, she was fine. Went for a nice Sunday roast at a local place on Sunday. Again, way too many calories. We've actually booked to go away end of the month, so I'm kind of trying to watch my calories and kind of also being like, still really want a Sunday roast. So I'm in that kind of half and half phase at the moment where I'm pretty good during the week. At the weekend, I'm kind of letting my hair down a little bit, but just chilled, mate. Just chilled and straight back into it yesterday, as you know.
Good.
Yeah.
No, sounds class.
Right, should we get into our 5 most loved things about the fitness industry? What's number 1 for you?
Number 1 for me is how it makes you feel. As a PT, it's quite an uplifting career. So, I mean, we spoke about this, making a positive change. I don't think there's many industries where you can have someone for an hour or you can have a conversation with someone and instantly, or almost instantly, it's uplifting. It's like their energy improves. I regularly do this scale of 1 to 10 test. If someone comes in and they go, I feel shite today, Brad. I'll say, well, scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? And they go, 3. I'm like, cool. When you leave this room, you'll be an 8.
Brilliant.
All right.
So you're setting the bar high.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many people go, I feel a 9, I feel great, I feel ready to attack the day. Awesome. And I like that. I like how it makes you feel as a trainer, putting people through it, but also just what people get from it.
I like that kind of act of being like, right, this is how we're going to program it. We're going to have this session. You've set the intention really early, and you've said to them, you're going to leave this feeling good. So I think a lot of people will intentionally try to end that session on a positive note if they can.
Yeah, definitely. And I've always said it, there's the reason why we've been in it for so long. And it's, there's something that gravitates you to it if you get it right. And
it's not just that feeling the client gets, it's the feeling you get as well. Like
Yeah.
taking someone in for an hour, knowing that they're not in a good spot, and then having them feel really good is fantastic, I think. So,
But yes, mate, yours, what's number one for you?
what's number one for me? Mine, number one, really, I guess the things that I love the most is not too dissimilar, I guess. It's the feeling, but it's more like the success stories and being part of them. I love, again, just the whole process of taking someone in who's in a terrible spot, mentally, physically. They just can't see a way out, and they've come to you potentially as a bit of a last-ditch attempt to turn things around, whether it's on a personal level, whether it's something they're dealing with by themselves, whether it's just a physical thing that they're battling, whether it's an injury, something like that, and they're coming to you as a last resort to try and feel better. And then over the next 2, 3, 4, sometimes 6 months, you then completely revamp their lifestyle, from the way they live, their daily actions, weekly actions, how they start feeling about themselves from a mental health point of view. It's just so nice to see someone flourish and be part of that journey. I still to this day, and I've been doing it almost 10 years now, and from day one, when you first get that person coming in and you see those changes, you see them improving their life, it never gets old, that. It really doesn't.
Fully agree. The next one for me is the strong woman culture. And I mean that by women lifting weights. And I say that because, I mean, let's face it, women have had it quite tough in our space for a long time. You know, they've been through the jazzercise, they've been through the step aerobics, they've been through all that sort of stuff. And now I think people are starting to really twig on to how lifting weights and just what it does, like actually having muscle on your frame, you know, people not being scared to, I suppose, have muscle on their body, and just how it makes them feel, because they're not living in this chronically restricted mindset, or they're not constantly depleting the body full of nutrients, and they're actually fueling themselves in a way that's promoting that muscle gain, and they're seeing the benefits from hormonal, visual, clothes fitting differently, and yeah, I'm really proud of the girls who I work with for that reason.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's also a social thing as well, and the fact that now girls aren't bothered about building muscle mass, it's actually promoted. And the good thing about social media is you can get following certain people, and you can get in certain crowds, and I think they call them muscle mummies nowadays, don't they? Girls who have a lot of muscle and you know, probably challenging some of the guys for shape, and it's something that strength have, I'm sure. And it's really promoted online, and I absolutely love this movement now of girls being strong, empowered, feeling like, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to go to the gym and feel intimidated like girls used to, maybe like 15, 20 years ago. Now they're going to the gym and thinking, I belong here. I'm going to be as strong as you, I'm as confident as you, and you know, there's nothing that can hold me back. And I love that kind of movement for sure. I couldn't back that up anymore.
I love the videos of like girls with the hip thrust bar, and then the guys like try and get underneath it and they just can't shift it. Like that's I think I regularly get sent those saying like, could you do this? And like, oh,
guys getting humbled by a barbell that this girl's driving up. But some of these girls, oh my god, the phenomenal amount of strength in those glutes.
100%.
But yeah, that's the one exercise that's probably being hammered a lot at the moment, isn't it? Glute bridges.
It's even little bits like a couple of my clients say, I want to do a pull up, and like, it's amazing how many people just get in their own head with it. Like, I've lost count the amount of times I've been working with someone for a while, and they go, I want to do a pull up. I'm like, have you tried recently? And they go, no. And I go and try it then. And it's amazing when they can do it.
Yeah.
And they don't think they can do it, but they do it. It's crazy. It's absolutely amazing to see that the ambition's there, but the ability's there as well. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of it is just coming back to pull ups. You know, you don't have to do pull ups every week to get better at them. Sometimes just by doing deadlifts and gripping a heavy barbell, your grip strength increases. And a lot of time when people are doing probably more so pulling movements, it's actually about other muscles catching up, and people's forearms are usually the one that lets them down. So if they do a lot of pull downs, if they do a lot of rows, deadlifts, I don't know, farmers carry, things that are really improving that grip strength. As soon as someone grabs those bars above their head, they're now thinking, wow, that feels more powerful. I'm gripping this bar a lot more solidly. And it's amazing how that relays into being then able to grip and drag yourself up towards that bar.
I saw a stat the other day, which is, and I'm going to butcher this, I know I am, but it was, if you can do a pull-up, it's statistically impossible to be obese. which is interesting,
Ooh,
isn't it?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I reckon there's some
I
videos
saw the
online.
stat and I'm like, I'm pretty sure. But no, like, when I saw it, I'm like, what an amazing like thing for people to aim for. That is, you think if you can do a full pull up, there might be a number attached. It might be like if you can do 5 or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Then
okay.
yeah, you sort of go, well, yeah, fair enough. From a relative strength, body composition standpoint. Yeah.
It's tricky one that because I reckon a lot of the England rugby team can do pull-ups. A few of them,
They're classed as-
but they're
yeah,
also
yeah.
like morbidly obese on the scale. I think there's probably a strength to weight ratio that kind of goes in favour of the strength there. But I think look, it's not a bad statistic to say for the general population.
100%. Yeah, I think for Gen Pop stuff, it's there's always them outliers, isn't there? But
sure. Number 2, it is just coaches who genuinely care. Occasionally, you'll come across a really bad profile, someone who you can tell, and we mentioned this on the last episode, is probably more of a marketer than a coach.
Yep.
But on the flip side, you occasionally come across a coach who you're like, oh God, this guy is really good. Really, really good. And you just I've spent like 10, 15 minutes sometimes just scrolling through people's pages. I'm like, this guy is really cool. I definitely need to follow this person. I always do. And it's someone who, over the next kind of few weeks and months, sometimes longer if you end up kind of connecting with them, can really give you inspiration and just, I don't know, fill in some of the gaps. Maybe there's a coach that you hadn't thought of, give different perspectives on things, but really good, science-backed perspectives. That is something that I love about the industry. Good coaches who genuinely care about their clients, and it really comes across in what they do.
I've got exactly the same for my number 3, which was passionate PTs.
Yeah.
They stand out a mile off because they love what they do, they love their clients, they love helping people, and they're not the showy ones, they're not the flashy ones. They're the ones who just put out quality stuff all the time, and it's like helpful stuff where you go, actually, this person really cares. And there's never been more access to those kind of people as well, which...
Without flirting with you too much, mate, I think your profile is definitely one of those for me.
I appreciate that.
I think when I came across it and I was like, there's so much value on here. So much value. You can just keep scrolling for a long time on your Instagram and you can just see the amount of valuable content that people can take. Small tips, big tips, you've got it all on there. So, again, probably another reason why you sat here and we're sat together because, I think you draw in people that are like you. If you're more business-minded and marketing-minded, you're probably going to draw those people in. If you're probably more coach-driven, results-driven, helping people-driven, you're going to draw those people in. So
I appreciate that. And again, without blowing smoke, anyone who's not checked out Ryan's profile, it's very similar in that sense.
It's
in
getting
terms
very
of
flirty now.
Well, is it? Yeah, isn't it? To be fair, this is getting it's getting a bit steamy in here. You got them candles? Where are them candles again? But no, it's one of those as well. Like you see, I still quote people on your like Buffy style in the fridge. For your meal prep, mate. I still go be like, I'll send you that poster, Ryan's, if you want.
Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people hadn't considered. I think people associate meal prep with those individual meals, but what Brad's referring to is a post I put out a while back about meal prep, and it's essentially just, instead of having everything prepped in individual boxes, I do it like a buffet. So I have like a whole container full of chicken breast, a whole container full of pasta, noodles, I might have some veg in there, and I just pick at it like I would do for buffet, basically. I pick a little bit of each, and it might change day to day. I might have some salmon in one, but I'm set for the week. And actually what it does is it means I'm not tied down to a specific meal. So maybe another episode on meal prep potentially in the future, and we'll bring that back up. But yeah, cool. Number 3 for me is... let's have a look. Just, I guess, connecting with people who are really sound. And I've mentioned this word before, people who just sound and get it. Whether that is coaches, whether it's clients, whether it's people you meet in the gym. This industry is full of people who just get it, just understand like the benefits of health and fitness, understand the feeling of how it affects their health and mental health. And hearing those stories and just small conversations with people who I've met at Station Gym, where it's just kind of one-off conversations with people or guys who you kind of keep going back to, and you get a real feel for their journey, who they are, how it affects them, and even that down to the point where you might train with a guy and pick up some tips on a certain exercise or something that you've not tried, or just a little tip. And don't get me wrong, you have a lot of chats with people and you're like, probably not going to take that on board.
But thank you.
But you also got to be very good and courteous, shall we say, as a coach, where when you know something's not quite right, you can't go around going bullshit. You've got to be like, you've almost got to weirdly entertain the idea for a second and go, okay, that sounds interesting, shall we say. But then you kind of obviously discard it if it's not very good. But then there's going to be little snippets and things in there that are great. And training with a bloke in the gym the other week, and there's a machine that I'd walked past 100 times but never really used it. And and we were training back together, and he jumps on this machine and says, "Yeah, I've been doing this thing where I've been doing it in a certain way. I flare my elbows a little bit higher, try and hit a bit more with my back, rhomboids, traps." And I go, "Okay, let me have a little try this." Wow. Next day, I was like, I literally can't pull my shoulders back. I was so tight. And just one little variation of an exercise on a new machine, it's amazing how effective that can be. So those conversations, and again, just like I said, connecting with people who are really cool in this industry is probably number 3 for me.
Fully agree. And for me, like, I train doctors, teachers, stay-at-home mums. It's just such an eclectic group of people that when would you meet them? Do you know what I mean? Like, when would you meet them sort of people? And it's such a cool place to be. And like, we've not touched on it just yet, but like, we came around here, was it last Sunday?
That's right.
Me, Amy and Ted, cooked us a roast. And like you said, people get it. Like when I said to you, by the way, Amy's doing keto for a little bit, you weren't weird about it. You were like, oh, cool, yeah, we'll accommodate. Yeah. That's fine. And it weren't weird,
nice. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably at an advantage there because I've done it before. I know what that means. If you say to someone else, "Oh, Amy's keto, by the way," they'll go, firstly, what the fuck is keto? Secondly, what the hell do I do about like accommodating her? But I agree. Going back to what you said about clients as well, there's certain people who I get in a room, coach for a certain period of time, and go, "I never ever probably would have met you if you hadn't have come here. You're just not in the circles that I run in. You're not into the things I'm into, but I love coaching you. You're a great person. I'm really happy, actually. Our paths crossed."
Yeah.
And you get that with a lot of clients who, you just get into their kind of lifestyle and you understand them. And as a coach, it's about how you can fit what we do into their lifestyle. Whether it is like a doctor, I've coached a lot of people in like the kind of service industry, policemen, firemen. I've coached people in construction. God, you name the industry, chances are I've probably coached someone in that industry. And it's great to connect with those people and just chat all things. Maybe even not even health and fitness, just other stuff as well.
Oh mate, I've got a client in particular who's into like Warhammer and like little figurines and stuff.
Yeah,
mate, crazy. And he was starting to have some problems with his wrist. So I was just like, right, what's going on? Like, talk me through. I did my own research, saw the gun that he was using. I'm like, right, he's probably holding his gun at like this sort of angle. So I'm like, well, no wonder he's constantly like...
It's like a glue gun kind of thing, was it?
Yeah, okay. But like it was basically like a little mini spray gun. But the level of fine motor control, so we sort of adapted his training to include a little bit more rotation and stuff. And he appreciated it so much because he's like, I can do what I love because you've taken that interest, if you know what I mean. And it's such a sound thing to do because... I care. Like, I want to learn that stuff. If it means I can connect with more, like, you want to learn that stuff. You want to broaden your horizons. Yeah.
The level of detail there, by the way, is phenomenal from you. The level of research to go away and go, right, what tools is this person using? Okay, he's using a gun. How is he going to use that gun? What's the rotation going to be like when he uses that gun? How is he going to apply that to the kind of figurines? How can we then incorporate that into his training so that area is stronger? That's phenomenal. I actually love the level of insight you've gone into there.
And it's care. Like, I guarantee, like, there's a networking event happening in Sheffield. Joe Patterson and Rory, whose surname escapes me, but the South Yorkshire, Rory Finch. And yeah, like, they're having a networking event, and I know full well we're going to meet like loads of amazing people there, and it's going to be sound. You just know it is, and absolutely. I guarantee there's people who care about the clients and just some sound people.
Yeah, exactly. Again, these are just coaches in the industry who are cool, and like we keep coming back to this word sound, but it's quite hard, I think, to be sound, especially when the tricky thing is there's obviously in any industry where there's a competitive aspect and there's businesses and people fighting for a pool of work. You can get into this mindset of being very, what's the word? I call it famine mentality. I think it was Joe Rogan who used that phrase, where you essentially see everything as competition. There's a certain amount of people, and I'm going to get them. And I'm going to make sure that it's me that gets them. And then when you get into that mindset, it's amazing how much more competitive you get with people in your industry. You're not trying to look out for them and help them and them help you. You're not looking to create bonds. You're now looking to see this as a competition. The best way to describe it is, look, there's no shortage of people getting overweight. We live in a world now where the obesity epidemic is worse, and it's getting worse every single year. So there's a pool of people who need our help, and we shouldn't be in competition. We should be out there promoting, this is how I do things, how do you do things? And this is what this networking event I'm hoping to be like. How can we integrate each coach together so the service for everyone is improved?
Yeah, fully agree. And then from speaking to Joe personally, I know that's very much what it's geared towards, like referrals, that sort of stuff, doing what's best for the client and any leads we get through, like what is best for them.
Absolutely. The bottom line is what is going to help the person or the people we're serving better. Absolutely.
I'd struggle to find many other industries that think like that or do that.
No, I agree.
Nice. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. For sure. What's your number 4?
I've got, Ryan, quality right, I'm going to start again with that one. Quality, exercise and health studies. I tried to combine the word exercise and health then. And the reason why I say that is, I mentioned it last week, but like the science is catching up with what we know. I mentioned about maybe a little flaw in the study space, which is like the short studies, 8, 12 weeks, which is fine. But then it's looking at long term, the people who we work with is the people who rebound, relapse. Yeah. Like what can we do to implement this long sustainable change, habit focused, and more really, really smart minds. I'm going to say nerds. There's more fitness nerds now than what there ever has been. Sure. And there's more opportunities for them to make a career out of it and just conduct these sort of studies that reinforce what we do on the front line. And that's, it's never been a better time to do what we do.
Absolutely. I'm gonna jump that and link that probably to my number 5 actually, which was the industry is always evolving, which I absolutely love. I love the fact that this is an industry where science is always improving. There's always new studies. We are getting more and more geeks and nerds, people who understand this stuff way better than we do, coming in and going, right, why is that the case? And challenging the status quo, essentially, and things and theories that have been in place for, 30, 40, 50 years maybe, sometimes longer than that. A lot of the original bases for improving health and fitness, building muscle, especially from a compositional point of view, I think in the early days were all stemmed from bodybuilding. Like bodybuilders set the benchmark in terms of this is how you build copious amounts of muscle, this is how we do it while staying super lean. Yep. And a lot of the exercise execution, a lot of the theories on training were all based on that era of bodybuilding. Over time, there's become obviously a lot more studies, people have challenged the status quo. And that's the amazing thing about the industry. We're working out now, based on your goals, based on your lifestyle, based on who you are as an individual, what are the best methods that you need to move forwards. And that's awesome. I love that. Definitely.
And you mentioned there, like, the variety of styles and disciplines. That is actually my number 5, so I'm aware you've not done your number 4 yet. But just the variety of styles, and disciplines, like I mentioned earlier, CrossFit. If CrossFit's not for everyone, could be strongman. If strongman's not for you, there's powerlifting. If powerlifting's not for you, there's different modalities 100%. That basically people just seem to shit on each one if you're not careful. Whereas what you want is people with this big broad horizon who can say, well, actually, why don't we take elements of that and maybe put that together? Or I think it's interesting to put those different modalities together because you don't just want to dip your toe in every single discipline. Dive in, get good at it. Maybe when you stagnate, try introducing something else. So that it's ever evolving in that. And I think it's a client of mine calls this the never-ending job. Because you can always progress it.
Yeah,
you can always progress
100%.
it. 100%. Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. It's never ending because no matter what level you're at, there's always a level above. There's always a level above. One word I want to re-highlight in what you said there is accessibility. The accessibility to exercise and different types of exercise is better than it's ever been. Like if you go back, if you're going to go to the gym like 30 years ago, you basically be going to a bodybuilding gym. There's very few gyms that were just like health and fitness related. They kind of came a little bit later. Gyms were for guys who wanted to lift heavy weights and build like intense amounts of muscle. Then it kind of like, let's say you want to go down, the Olympic lifting route. You'd have to know someone who did those classes. You have to know a coach and a trainer. You'd have to know the accessibility to that wasn't very high. You'd have to show some signs of being strong, and you'd have to meet the right people as a kid. You'd have to start very young to get into it. You weren't gonna get into that in your mid-20s, mid-30s. People now are getting into Olympic lifting mid-30s. Why is that? Well, because it's so accessible. You can go to classes. CrossFit, I think, has been a big thing for that. If you want to learn specific Olympic lifting moves, there are classes at CrossFit where you can go and learn those specific movements. And I think it's great that there's so much accessibility to everything. If you want to go and do powerlifting, there's a powerlifting guy online, someone in your local area that owns a gym who does specifically powerlifting stuff. You can pretty much choose any modality of training, and there's something, especially in Sheffield, that where I can think of a gym or a person I would go to go, yeah, I want to get better at that. When I said this year, right, I fancy doing a High Rocks, there was a plethora of people I was going to speak to, a few specific coaches that I thought might be able to get me to that point where I'm prepped and ready for it. And it wasn't too much of a barrier, which I think is great.
I always say to people that when we achieve one goal, we create another problem. So it's like when someone gets super lean, you know, there's another problem of like reversing them out of that. Maybe they do want to put on some more muscle. When people get to this place of getting really strong, maybe we unlock another problem where maybe the body fat's a little bit too high for their liking, so they might want to bring it down again. So when you actually achieve one thing, you do create another problem, whether that's balance or whatever. So it's a never-ending job in that sense. And
yeah. But again, that's another really, really positive thing about this, you know, journey that people go on to improving their health and fitness. It is never ending, which is great, and it shouldn't really be ending at any point. You might have moments where you don't do it as intensely. You might have small periods off from it, but it's something you should keep coming back to. And no, it is a bit of a Pandora's box, unfortunately. Sometimes, literally this morning, had a guy, a new starter, got him downstairs, started doing some things. He's a very dainty, frail person, wants to build quite a lot of muscle. But as soon as we started moving, it was very clear that, okay, we can't actually start lower than the body because he's very inflexible in his hips. External rotation hips is terrible, so we now need to put all our eggs in the basket of, right, let's get those hips and legs functioning right, then we can start building up some level of weight and movement. And that's normally what happens. No one comes onto the programme, very rarely someone comes onto the programme, and immediately it's like all guns blazing. There's going to be little niggles and issues, and it's not about going, okay, exercise isn't for me because it doesn't feel good. I can't do it because of this. I can't do that because of that. It's about going, no, they're just little challenges and hurdles that I have to overcome. If it means I have to speak to certain people, research a few things, I'm going to get past this to the point where nothing affects me. And that's the mindset and the positive mindset you should have going into exercise.
And again, speaking about networking and that sort of stuff, I've never seen so many PTs comfortable with outsourcing.
Yeah,
like a guy in the gym approached me saying like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, listen, go and speak to this guy. Cool. He's your man. Because I want what's best for that person, genuinely. And I think the personality styles match and that sort of stuff, so you just offload.
Yeah.
And initially in your PT journey, that can be quite hard because you want to take on the business and you want to do what you can, but you get to a stage sometimes and you go, well, what's best for this person? And that wasn't me lacking self-belief, that was me going, oh no, that's him, like he can help you. And yeah, I like that.
Again, I've mentioned it a few times, but it depends how hippy-dippy you want to go with it. But I do believe, like, if you do good things, they'll come back eventually. Like, we had Pete on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned a story about how I only knew him as the travelling PT. He was the only person I knew who did it, like, in our area and went to people. Everyone else I know either works at a gym or you basically go to them. Yeah. This guy had his own home gym set up and he actually wanted someone to come. So I thought, no, I can't help you, but I know another PT. I could have easily been like, you know, a little bit arsey and gone, nah, you know what? Fuck you, basically. I'll keep that client. Maybe I'll keep messaging him, swindle him over. I saw a problem. I knew the solution, put those two together. And actually, Pete, I think, respected me more because of that. And he probably was on the podcast not for that sole reason, but it obviously added to the fact that he wanted to come on our podcast and talk to us because I'd done something positive for him in the past. So I feel like that came back and paid itself in a way.
I've skirted over your number 4, mate. I don't want to bury that and leave it in
I think number 4 is very apt for me. Obviously, it's the Fit Dads podcast, and it's all about getting families and parents and kids into fitness as well. And I did a little bit of what would you call it now? Not Twitter, what's the other one?
Is it X, is it?
No, Threads.
Threads. Yeah.
What do you call doing a thread?
I don't know. Just do a thread.
It's a tweet, isn't it? Like for Twitter. I did it. Well, so I should say I did a thread the other day. Yeah. And it was about how when I was a kid, there was so much stigma around exercising as a young teenager. You know, when I started exercising at the age of 12, and I was in my dad's home gym. Even my dad would make comments about, like, you want to be careful about how much weight you're lifting. It might stunt your growth. You might, have potential health risks in the future. there wasn't a lot of research to back up that actually kids lifting weights is a really good thing. Now it's proven that it actually does the opposite. It actually increases growth and helps you grow even more, because when you put pressure on the growth plates as a result, the bones grow more, essentially. So there's so much more research to back up that actually exercising, movement, weightlifting for kids is fantastic. But when I was a kid, it wasn't that way. And I love the fact the industry's moved on now, to the point where actually, if a teenager now is like, let's say he's 13, 14, 15 years old, he's into the gym, he classes himself as a quote-unquote gym rat, right? It's in his bio on Instagram.
Yeah.
Pictures of him lifting, got his top off, showing a few muscles. In his social circle and amongst his family, friends, people close to him, they'll think of him as like a hero. Now they'll think about, oh, that lad's got his shit together. That lad's really switched on. He goes to the gym 4 times a week, trains, looks great. He's probably even touted to be the next like Elon Musk or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got his shit together. When I was doing that 4 or 5 times a week, people thought I was weird, really weird. Like to the point where people were like, yeah, he just goes to the gym all the time. Don't know what he's like. Don't know what he sees in it. Like, why would you want to go and work your muscles and get big? It was just seen as being odd. I was odd.
Born at the wrong time, mate.
Yeah, I was. I was born before my time.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that, I was doing it back then when I was kind of doing it for me in a way. I was always doing it for me. I was never doing it for anyone else. Whereas you do, I don't know, maybe you do questions sometimes whether it's kind of to have a good physique now online is quite impressive, isn't it? So I think a lot of young lads want to impress, and I think it's probably a bit of a flex nowadays more than anything else, to girls and stuff like that. But I love the fact that guys and girls have got that kind of accessibility to exercise, and it's socially seen as a really acceptable thing to do, and people are promoting it, backing it up, bigging people up for doing it. It's great.
Fully agree, and like fair play to you for like admitting that, because it can be tough, when you're a little bit of a, not an outcast as such, but when you're doing things that you're going against the grain.
I was 100% an outcast.
Right.
Because the thing is, my mates when I was a kid would come along for a few sessions. They knew the gym was good. They knew it might help them play football better. Yeah. Deep down, all like teenage lads want a big chest as well. They want to feel bigger. You get into that age where you're like, I want to be a grown up now. I'm thinking about my next years, and I'm seeing this guy who's shredded, and I want to be like that guy. And when I was a kid, lads would come to the gym with me. They'd come for like maybe a month or so, and they'd drop off, and I'd just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I realised that this is a really real long game here, and I really hope that a lot of young lads and kids, if any do listen to this podcast, who knows, if they do hear this, then it is a long game. Like, it's not a quick fix. It's just about getting some really solid habits and foundations laid now, so that in the future you really maximise your results. And you get a lot of people, guys like in the mid-20s, getting into exercise and fitness, and they want those results really quickly. And it's why things like performance-enhancing drugs are so rife now, because people want those results instantly. They don't want to have to wait. So yeah, I think coming full circle back to kind of kids and being in the gym and being into fitness, I think it's great that everyone's got that backing now of the social aspects.
Do you think we're the last generation of parents who maybe are a little bit hesitant to getting kids back in? Because I can imagine like Ted's generation and Paolo's generation, hopefully it's going to be normalised, where it's like, yeah, this is just what you do. Like, I've noticed in American sports and that sort of stuff, they're in really early, like really early, trying to not specialise in sport, but they introduce weight rooms quite early doors, like high school. Yeah.
But I think it's necessary. Like, if you've got any elite level academy across any sport, there's going to be a strength and conditioning program involved in that every single week. They're going to be doing strength movements, all your main fundamental deadlifts, overhead press, back squats. They're going to be doing those fundamental movements pretty much every week to get them sturdy, to really build them up from a young age.
You got any advice to parents who maybe are hesitant, like if their kid's just starting to pick weights up now? Are you just saying, just check out my Instagram and look at me?
No, I mean, number one, my biggest advice is make sure they know what they're doing. Because what I will say is, when I got into lifting weights at 12, I didn't have like a barbell. Whereas I think most home gyms now have those free weights. Where when I was a gym, I just had like a few dumbbells. I've talked about the infamous multi-gym that we had as a kid. And that was great because it was I was sat down, it was very static. There was very little ways I could injure myself. Whereas nowadays, with a lot of barbells and big heavy dumbbells knocking about, even kettlebells, lifting those up as a kid, you can do yourself some damage. So I would, number one, make sure that if you're going to get your kid into it, just opt for a coach. Just get someone to come in and teach them the main fundamental movements. If it's not like once a week, maybe once a month, or just having a family friend come over and show them some things that they know what they're doing. Have someone you trust show them the basic movements, because it can end in tears if you're not careful.
You said something really good last week, which is like, you've got a client who says, I really like having one voice and like not being completely overwhelmed and moving the goalposts. So I quite like that, because the amount of 24, 25-year-olds I've trained, or currently do train, who've got all the current health and exercise knowledge from TikTok, which is very like short paced, like, you know, fast paced. And you know what, they've done a really good job with it, because they've curated out the bollocks basically. And they've just done so well with it, doing that themselves. But you know, the kids might not be able to do that.
I think that is exactly how that's how most people tend to get their information when it comes to health and fitness and weightlifting nowadays. It's through social media, and social media is all 10, 30, maybe a tops a minute long videos, and these things are very short, sharp pieces of information that are heavy hitting, attention grabbing, and sometimes false. I say sometimes, a lot of the time false in terms of their advice, and it's very easy to fall into the trap of looking at people who are very good at catching your attention and are very good marketers, rather than people who are actually great coaches. We spoke, obviously probably won't get too much detail into this because we've done it on other episodes, but who you follow online is really important. And I think when it comes to kids and getting them into health and fitness, as a parent, you're naturally going to want to research it yourself, see what's right, see how this can be a positive thing in your child's life, but make sure that you are then backing that up with the right information from the right people.
Bit of a curveball question for you now. Are there anything that you'd encourage parents to, like red flags? I'm not saying we're going to call out specific people, because you know it's a positive episode, but is there any red flags that you're saying to parents, like if you see your child maybe watching this or interacting with this, that you think this might not be the best? Because one of them for me is like the short form, very speaking absolutes. I'd raise a massive red flag and encourage your kids to think critically, basically.
I think one of the biggest people you can watch out for online is people who always in every video have the top off.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
That for me, it's a universal thing for me.
Yeah.
Because think about it, why do they have to have the top off?
Could be warm.
Could be very warm. True. They could have a great six pack as well, which
there is that, yeah.
If there's that, you probably want your top off more so. But they have to do that because they want to grab your attention.
Yeah.
If they're having to grab your attention with the way they look, the chances are the message behind it probably isn't backing that up. Not always. There's some guys out there who have the tops off. I may post the occasional top off selfie or something like that, but I'm not on every single video with my top off, because I think I want the message to be the main thing. I don't want my physique to be the thing that people are tuning in for, essentially. And yes, it's social proof. Being in shape is a big part of the industry. But a red flag for me is absolutely if the person's got a top off in every single video, you can almost guarantee that actually the message isn't great.
There's an ethos, that's the word I'm looking for. There's an ethos in digital marketing, which is give them what they want, tell them what they need. Tell them what they need. I will say that again because my voice did break out then. Tell them what they want. No. Give it.
It's gone now.
It's gone. It's gone. That monster's like, faded on me. Faded
on me. Even monster, it's prime.
Yeah, it were not good enough. Not good enough. Which is give them what they want, tell them what they need.
Like that. Perfect. Yeah. And I think again, great quote for kids when it comes to getting them into health, fitness, and have we gone over all 5 now? I've done my 5, I think.
I've done my 5.
Okay, cool.
We're good.
I think we'll round it off there, mate.
Let's do it.
Hopefully this has been a little bit more positive than our last episode. I've really enjoyed today. I think it's been great to kind of talk about some things that we really like in the industry, but I think the main things are the fact that it's the stories we absolutely love, the people we meet in the industry itself, and its promotion of something very, very positive in that way. You know, no matter who you are, you're going to be moving, you're going to be exercising, you're going to be feeling great physically and mentally. So I'm very proud to be in this industry for sure.
Definitely. And I really want to know what other people enjoy about our industry. Like, what do you love? You know, let's come away from the hate. You know, we want to know what you really love. Like, why do you choose to move? Why do you choose to go to the gym? Why do you choose to do what you do?
Absolutely. And everyone's got their own specific things as to why they do this. A lot of them are going to be kind of overlap, but if there's anything specific to you about why you absolutely love the fitness industry, pushing your body, being in the gym environment, drop us a comment on any kind of YouTube videos, social media stuff, and yeah, we'd love to know.
Keep forward in the Fit Dads.
And keep forward in the Fit Dads, yes, absolutely. Guys, thank you for joining us on the Fit Dads podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
See you soon.